we can have, 300, 400,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, but that doesn't mean anything if no one's coming to shows. So to have, like more than 100 people at each show was wild.
Hey, what's up, Victor?
What's going on?
How are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for having us, man.
Of course. I'm Adam, by the way. And this is about you guys and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new album.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, I had a chance I got an advance of the streams to it. It's awesome. It's an awesome record.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's right up my alley. I grew up in the pop punk emo scene, and that's what kind of the vibes that I get from the record.
Sick. Thank you.
Yeah. So the band started in Gainesville. Is that what I read?
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Yeah.
all from Gainesville, Florida?
We all went to college in Gainesville. We're all from Florida. And we went to school at University of Florida in Gainesville.
Okay. And well, then whereabouts, Jesse? What part of Florida did you grow up in?
I grew up in Venice, Florida, basically a retirement community on the West Coast, south of Tampa. Yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Matthew?
I'm from easiest way Orlando. I'm from a suburb just outside Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Victor?
And then I grew up just north of Gainesville in a small little town called Lake City, Rednecksville, USA.
Right on.
The hangout spot was the gas station.
Yeah.
Well, Gainesville, I mean, obviously the college is there, but they have a pretty thriving punk scene. I mean, the Fest is there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to Gainesville like in high school and like realizing like, oh, like this feels like the big city to me. And there's like punk bands here and there's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure though. I mean, the fact that they do that huge thing there every year. I remember when I was in high school, or maybe it was in high school or early college when I first started to see that festival coming up. Because I grew up in San Diego, and there'd be bands from San Diego that would go out there and play the fest.
It's always funny seeing like bands from California coming to Gainesville, Florida for Fest. Like,
I think Against Me might have been on like one of the earlier bands playing that festival.
Oh yeah.
Hot Water Music, I believe.
Yeah, they're both from Gainesville. So it was like Dustin Jake, Against Me, and Hot Water are like still pretty regular headliners for Fest.
That's cool. That's really cool. What so Matthew, how did you get into music? Do you come from a musical household?
No, not really. I mean, neither of my parents were musicians, aside from maybe like playing a little bit in their churches when they were very little kids. But my brother was in middle school bands, which made me want to join and do that too. And I got more serious about music around when I was like 11 or 12 and just started really getting into playing every day. But I started playing guitar when I was 8 because I just liked Guitar Hero and wanted to do that, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, real quick on the school band, what instrument did you play when you were in the school band? Did you get to play guitar?
I played clarinet and saxophone, and then once I got to high school, I did get to play guitar and jazz band, and then I would play saxophone and like concert band and all those other things. Yeah.
Wow. Do you still play either at all on the clarinet or sax?
Horribly, yeah. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
When I was in 5th grade, you got to pick an instrument. We didn't get to play guitar, but I picked the clarinet because I was in 4th grade when you had to choose. And I saw this kid in the class, like if you put his mouth over the whole mouthpiece and just blew really hard, it sounded like this obnoxious like duck sound. And I was like, that is what I want to do.
Oh, dude, I taught at a band camp for a couple summers where I would teach kids how to play clarinet. And the first thing you do is you just play the mouthpieces to try to get them to get an embouchure
on the reed. Yeah,
it is punishing. It is a terrible.
I can imagine.
I would not wish that on anybody.
Oh, that is
full of people doing
that. What about you, Jesse? How did you get into music?
So my dad and my brother are both musicians. At least not by profession, but they both play the drums. My brother plays guitar a good bit. And I played piano since I was like 6. And then I got really into the game Rock Band. And I got super good at the drums. I could play a lot of the songs on expert. And I was like, I think I can do this in real life, because it kind of translates at least a little bit, much more than like guitar does in Guitar Hero.
Right.
Just started playing at like my high school like church band, and then I played in church like when I was like 14 and learned how to play like to click and to tracks and everything. And then
Wow.
it's been
Yeah, Rock Band was awesome. The drums are my favorite part of Rock Band. My son could play drums. I'm not very good. But yeah, I remember just playing In Bloom. That was one I could from Nirvana. I could play that on expert, and like that was good enough for me. I'm like
super.
I felt like I had completed something at that point. What about you, Victor? How did you get into music?
Honestly, I was just like, I think it was 10 or 11, and I remember I was not good at sports, so music seemed like the next viable option. So I
Okay.
started taking guitar lessons for like a couple months, and then once I learned like power chords and bar chords, then it was just sort of playing Green Day songs until I learned how to play like cowboy chords and like actual chords instead of just bar chords. And then I started my first band when I was in high school, and then eventually I met Jesse and Matt.
Wow. Okay. What about this band in high school? So, how long were you guys around for? Like, did you do like shows or tell
Yeah,
me
we
about this
weren't.
band?
I mean, so we were called Foul Play, FOUL play, and like our logo was a chicken, play on words and everything. But it was basically just like at that point, it was just kind of a Green Day like all time low, like kind of rip off band. Like I was really into those bands at the time, and I just kind of copied all the same structures, and when they just kind of write my lyrics and melodies over them. So we were together for like 3 years, my sophomore year through my senior year, and actually Jesse met me while I was in high school, and he had just started at the University of Florida. He started Arrows in Action before I had like even gone to college.
Oh
So
wow.
sorry, my dog is barking off the side.
I
But
didn't even hear it.
but basically Jesse came to a show that Foul Play was playing, and he was like, I think you guys are great. I'd love to play a show sometime. And we ended up playing a show together a couple weeks later. And then my band broke up when I graduated high school, and then I joined Jesse's band, Arrows in Action, because they needed a singer.
Oh wow. So Arrows in Action was a band prior to you joining Victor, and did you have I guess Jesse was there another person singing for the band, or like tell me about kind of the origin of the band?
Yeah, the origin has a few different interesting overlaps.
Pre both of us.
Yeah, pre Matt and Victor.
Oh wow. Okay.
Then my first year of college was 18. I like put up flyers around the campus and kind of auditioned people, but the singer and bassist who joined at the very beginning were brothers that Victor actually knew from their previous band. He was like a big fan of their band before Arrows in Action.
Yeah.
And then
Interesting.
So I forget how like Victor ended up learning that they were in my band or how, but like Arrow's first show was opening for Victor's band at the time in 2012, probably 2013 maybe.
You grandpas.
Crazy.
Wow. So Victor, did you know you wanted to go to college there in Gainesville?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
that was already a decision that you had made, not, oh, I want to join this band, so I'm graduating high school, let's go to college.
No, yeah. So I went to high school actually in Gainesville too. I just drove from Lake City to Gainesville 40 minutes every day to go to like a private Catholic high school.
Okay.
And all the people that I was friends with were smarter than me, so it was like a lot of like academic competition. So that kind of got me to the point where I was like, oh, I can go to UF and it's right here, it's in the same town, so this will be great.
Okay. So you knew you were going to go there anyway. That's cool,
yeah.
though.
I knew I was going to go there, and I had like kind of gotten like a scholarship to go. And I knew that Jesse was there, so I was like, cool, I already know somebody else and I'll get there. Like this will be cool. And I remember distinctly asking Jesse like my first couple months there, like, hey, like I'm thinking about like, I'm trying to figure out what I should study, and I feel like maybe marketing might be a good idea. And Jesse was like, that does sound like a good idea. Maybe I should do marketing too.
You hadn't decided yet?
You're undeclared.
I was doing engineering, and I had realized that I wasn't gonna be finishing engineering I just didn't like it. Everyone else was so excited about everything that we were talking about, and I was like,
I'm gonna be right back. I'm so sorry. This dog is freaking out.
Go for it.
Oh, I'm sorry,
"Oh,
Nash.
guys."
That's funny. So you were gonna do engineering and then decided no, marketing sounds great.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well. But
Right.
yeah,
I was gonna say not a bad choice. Or the
yeah,
people that go into music and then they're like, I'm gonna do music business. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's probably a better bet than whatever, you know, a
Yeah.
degree.
You're
Unless
using
it's
your
songwriting,
degree a lot
maybe.
more than I use my degrees.
some
That's for
way,
sure. You're
yeah.
using your marketing degree.
yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And you guys are doing a hell of a job with the marketing. I mean, the TikTok is blown up and your Instagram and everything else and streams. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What about you, Matthew? So, how do you meet up with these guys and join the band, or were you in a band prior?
Yeah, I started a band when I was in high school. That lasted, I guess, well past high school. So I started when I was 14, and then by the time I went to college, we were still playing together. Things were going pretty well, and we wanted to play Gainesville, and someone in one of my classes actually told me to hit up Jesse about putting a show together. So then my band Bothering Dennis from Orlando, our first Gainesville show was opening for Arrows in Action. And then I met them. And then really just like and that was my freshman year of college. So then over the next couple of years, Victor and I played in cover bands together and like a karaoke band together. And I say Victor and I, but like Jesse would swap in too whenever the core drummer of that group would make it too. And so we were just playing together a lot, whether we were playing shows, Bothering Dennis and Arrows, or whether we were playing cover gigs out. And then they needed a bass player at some point. So I said, all right, I won't be full time, but I'll sub in on bass for you. And then I just fell in love with writing with them and playing with them, and just saw how they worked and saw what the writing was like, and just thought this could be like where I want to be. And then around when I was graduating college, I swapped into guitar, my main thing, and we moved into a house together, and yeah, and then booked a tour, and then COVID happened, and then
Oh,
it got
wow.
canceled, and then the rest is history, because then we made a TikTok account.
Okay, well, that first EP that you guys had put out, were all of you on that recording, or was that prior to?
Hosting?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Matt hadn't joined the band yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hosting, but he did record on Hell in Paradise.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. Very, very cool. And so when do you guys I mean, to book a whole tour, when do you start? Are you playing around Gainesville a lot, or are you doing like little runs of Florida? Like, what's like kind of the first, validation for the band to be like, oh, let's keep this going?
We were playing around Gainesville a lot, like with like friends of ours bands, like Drive Away and the Hales, and we were playing shows with Flip Turn. So we would
Oh, I
play
love those guys.
Gainesville.
Flip Turned.
Yeah.
I've had them on the podcast before.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really funny to see how far each of these bands that we were playing at the Atlantic with in Gainesville, like, to maybe 40 people have come. Like Flip Turn's the biggest they've ever been. It's wild. But
Yeah, they're huge. They're awesome though.
so like we were playing a lot of Gainesville shows, and then we would kind of do little like Florida runs. Like at some point we did like a little run with the home team when they were touring through Florida, and I think we did like 5 shows in Florida or something like that with them. And we would start to kind of venture out to like maybe trying to play Atlanta and whatnot, and Tallahassee. And then I think for me at least, one of the first like really big validating things was when we were playing in Orlando Battle of the Bands at the Abbey, and we won. And
Oh, wow.
we had just recorded, a song called Close Enough, and we had played that song, and we ended up winning the Battle of Bands, and then opening for like, being a part of a festival that included the 1975 and Jimmy Eat World and 311.
Oh,
And so that
damn.
was really cool. And to have fans at that 25-minute set at like 4 in the afternoon or something, 3 in the afternoon, whenever it was super validating.
12:30.
Yeah, it was much
Yep.
earlier than
It
that.
was earlier. 12:30. I remember because White Reaper played at 1:30. So we finished, and I just walked across the lawn to White Reaper.
Oh, damn, they played that early too. They're big right now as well.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
killing it. They're one of my favorites. And so this was 2019. So this was right before. This is like before Might Be Right started doing really well and getting radio and stuff. So Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was in radio at that time. That's where I started. I came from radio for nearly 20 years, and now I'm doing this.
That's
But
like,
like, White, I remember we were playing because I was on an alternative station in San Diego. We were playing White Reaper. I was like, damn, like this is a cool band. I'd never heard of them before. But to
yeah,
have them play
very,
that early on, that's funny.
Yeah.
a very classic sound. Yeah, this was long enough ago that they weren't doing the probably the evening slots that they're doing now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you do that festival, and then it's kind of like this is a thing. Are you all in Nashville now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I'm south in Nashville. I moved here a
Oh,
couple years
nice.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
How'd you like the
Yeah.
rain today?
I haven't really been out much outside, to be honest. But it is hot, which always means there's a bad storm coming. So
Hmm.
we'll see. How long have you guys been in Nashville?
Victor and I have been here coming up on 2 years, and Jesse is just rounding off 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so we must have moved here around the same time. That's cool.
Oh, cool. You too. All right.
Yeah, I moved here February 2021.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rad. Well, okay, so the band's doing, you guys win this battle of the bands, and tell me, like, so what's kind of the next move from there? Like, obviously you booked a tour that was 2019 where you're like, okay, here we go, we won this battle of bands, let's book this tour. And then what, COVID happens?
So yeah, I mean we do the Battle of the Bands. I think it's the end of 2019 or like November, October, something like that of 2019. We're coming off of it ecstatic, we're super stoked. I think at this point we are living in like a house together in Gainesville, and we're getting ready for this tour, and then March COVID happened. Like we were just literally just gearing up for that and getting ready to put out new songs. We dropped a song called This Time that ended up doing really well, and that's still one of our top songs to this day. Shout out to everyone who's been listening to that. And this time kind of carried us through a lot of the pandemic this time, and songs like Failing on Purpose, because we had those songs kind of like pre-recorded with our buddy Dan Swank. So we're so grateful we had those songs ready before the pandemic hit, so then we could kind of like trickle them out and still show people we were doing things. During the pandemic, we did like a bunch of like Instagram interviews, just Instagram live interviews with different bands, whoever would accept it. So like Ann Arbor, the Dirty Nil, friends bands, like
Oh, cool.
Drive Away and stuff. So we were just doing anything we could to stay active and stay in people's eyes and just let people know that we weren't stopping.
Wow. Oh, so you do it like a little collaboration interview with another band, just kind of hang out with them on Instagram Live or something?
Yeah, we would just pick a night and be like, all right, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Like Matt's gonna interview, one of the members of Ann Arbor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I had those guys. I've had both those bands on this podcast. Ann Arbor is funny that I don't know if they told you the story with because it's just the two guys now, right?
Yeah.
Where I can't remember the singer's name. I'm blanking, but Slade, and then the other guy was working at GameStop. Did you hear the story? And then and then he like walked in, and the one guy was like, "Oh my God, you're blah blah," and he's like, "Yeah, you guys hiring?" Because like the band hadn't, they had like this music video on MTV too, but they're doing great now. But I just thought it was like, damn, what a humbling story. But okay, so you were doing these interviews, and then how does that with, sorry, I'm spacing, with this time, how did that song like start doing well? Was it through like TikTok or social media, or like did it just go up and start doing really well on Spotify?
Yeah.
That was TikTok, because one of the first things that we did on TikTok, I mean, we tried sketches for a while, but then the main first thing that worked is Jesse just started, which is funny because we do this with everything now, but it was revolutionary at the time. Jesse made a vertical cut of the music video and just posted it every day for weeks.
Every single day.
And one of them did well, and then
once one of those did well. I think it was like just the start of the first verse, and like the people, it just took off, and I was like, guys, look at this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
There's like 30,000 views on this.
That's never seen anything like that.
More than anything. That's our biggest number of anywhere across the board. And then, we just kept doing it, and that kind of got a lot of traction on TikTok. And it kind of we're like, okay, there's something here that we can tap into over time.
And we retained a lot of those early people.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the fans that we made in the first couple months of having a TikTok and being in true lockdown, you know, like pre-vaccine, free people even understanding what you're supposed to do, masks and all that kind of stuff. Like the first couple months of it, we just stayed home and streamed. And because that video caught some people, we would have like 15, 20 people who would just watch us talk to each other, talk to them, and play cover songs. And those people still come out to shows wherever they are, and we know them by name. And
That's rad.
yeah, that was a really special, scary, but fun time.
Yeah.
It was really, yeah. Sorry,
Sorry, go. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it was really cool to see like how well retention rates were for like listeners and everything when we started going live, and not just posting the video, but we'd post the video and then go live for like 3 hours, sometimes like 4 hours, just in Jesse's house. Like that was our whole night. Was a Wednesday. Be like, we're meeting up at 8 p.m. I got a box of White Claws and we're streaming until we're tired. And
Yeah.
like having people would stay for like 4 hours. And like they'd be like, play this, and sometimes we'd be able to do requests. And when you can like do what someone wants you to do, it's crazy how long they'll stick with you.
Yeah, I know. And then to get people to like leave whatever TikTok or Instagram and then go to your Spotify and stream the song. I mean, that's like an extra. I always think of it's like, I could go through and be like, oh, this is a cool song, but then you have to take the extra step. You're like, okay, now I got to leave this app. I gotta go search them on, or got to go click something else. It's like the fact that it's hard to get somebody to click another like outlet to go to another thing and listen to it. But the song is 6 million plus plays, so it's like it's cool that you're able to get these fans that are like, oh, I want to go there. I'm going to hear these songs, and then they probably go back in your catalog. Obviously, you had other stuff. It wasn't like the first song you had put out that just hit.
Well, I think it was like a really defining moment for our band and how we wanted to like interact with our fans and how we wanted to like present ourselves moving forward, because being on the lives, we were just always interacting with people, just like being ourselves, telling them things about ourselves. Like people know who my mom is, like, like
That's
stuff
awesome.
like that. And so because of things like that, to this point, like at this point, when we're touring or anything, we have people who we know personally who are bringing us like, hey, I know that you wanted some fruit while you're on the road or something, here's some dried fruit. Or like people who we have met 20 times, like exaggerating, but still like that really cemented how we interacted with our fans and how our fans like really started to see us and like feeling like they knew us.
Yeah, you're definitely a more personal relationship with them than, oh, I like your song, I'm gonna go check your band out, and then you're just like, oh, hey, here's a picture or whatever. That's cool. Well, Jesse, you must have really believed in that music video to push it up every day.
Yeah, I mean that song was my favorite of the like batch of, I guess, four that we made like close. I like all the songs, but
Before we were very lucky to have recorded pre-pandemic.
The timing, so we recorded close enough in like July 2019, I think, and then this time Failing on Purpose and Honey,
November
of 2019. So we had those, and it was the only one we had a music video for, and it was the only one we it was the first one that we were going to be putting out. So I don't really remember. Maybe I just saw someone else do it. I don't know why. I was like, yeah, let me just post this vertical and put the words on, start like my first attempt at, captioning the song, which we do now every single time. But that was like, oh, I'll take 20 minutes to manually edit,
caption everything in.
Oh yeah,
which is much easier now, but
and really nail the timing of each line.
Oh yeah, you had to.
Well, even a year ago, we would just be sitting like on tour, like it was, like one person would be driving and one person would be dragging lyrics onto TikToks one line at a time.
I'm so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were pretty proud of the video. We were proud of the song. It was our first like, sort of like true music video, really. Like, because before that, like the Chasing Rhymes video, I guess, was as close as we'd gotten to a true music video, but it was kind of just like a good time lyric video. And then with this time, we kind of had a sort of a semblance of a real music video going on, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then now you have your debut album's coming in.
Yeah, and here we are.
That's huge. I love the album. my favorite song you haven't put out yet. But I think the whole record's awesome. I think Heading in the Clouds, when I first listened to the whole album a week ago or so, I was like, this I was like, this is a massive hit. I thought. And then like the rest of the record, like I said, is great. My favorite song, I think, is Lessons Learned, is what it's called.
Learn My Lesson, yeah.
Oh, Learn My Lesson. Yeah, that is a killer song.
That's so funny because we love every song on the record, but we also like kind of assign certain spaces to each song. So obviously the first track is the intro track, the last track's the outro. Like Learn My Lesson is very much to us almost like the breath, like the interlude.
Right.
But like it's also our manager's favorite song. So now I'm like, did we pick the wrong singles out now?
I think
No.
something that one needs some TLC when it comes to TikTok. So we got to make a lot of TikToks.
Oh well, I mean, they're all getting plenty of TikToks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song is great, man. I was like, damn, like this is really good. And same with Head in the Clouds. Like when I listened without going to your Spotify and like seeing what singles you had put out, I just listened to the whole record a couple times and I was like, oh, this is like definitely the radio banger right here. But all the songs are really are awesome. The features you have on the record are awesome. But that one, the Learn My or Lessons, what the hell is it called now?
Learn My Lesson, yeah.
Learn My Lesson is, yeah, that's my favorite song on the record.
Oh yeah. I love
Sick.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's cool to know. I think that's other than Jacob, that's definitely the first we've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
nice
cool.
to see like each song's like votes kind of going up,
Yeah.
But it is nice to hear you say that about Head in the Clouds because I think that was exactly how we felt when we wrote it. Like I remember the day we wrote it, it was just like it sounded a lot like it sounds now, or just an acoustic guitar and like some auxiliary production or percussion. And like I listened to it 40 times the night that we recorded it because I was like, this is it. This is like our hit.
Yeah, that's what I think. I still think that song is gonna take off. But I'm not sure how long it's been out, but it's the most recent one that you've put out from the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
3
almost
weeks.
four.
And yeah, it did well on TikTok. It had a little moment, so that's been really nice. It's our top
Yeah,
song on
and-
Spotify.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's doing well. That's you have another one coming out tomorrow before the record.
Yeah, checking in. The music video came out this morning and the song will come out tomorrow. We're doing a little celebration stream tonight for it.
Oh, cool. So the video is out already.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, tell me about the video. I haven't seen the video. Now I feel dumb.
No, it's okay.
I'm just kidding. I was like, okay, I know the song's coming out tomorrow, but I had the album, so I didn't want to overstep.
Right,
But yeah, so tell me about the song and the video.
Yeah, so we did it with the same person who did I guess starting with Only Be Mine and Uncomfortably Numb music and Put You Through Me.
And the credits.
And the credits.
Dalton.
Dalton Sneddon.
Yeah.
He's kind of our go-to music video director. And it's very like indie vibes. We were just kind of trying to get across the sort of like, it was very different from the credits, which has so many random, funny, goofy, or actiony scenes. This is more of like, we were kind of like sort of like upplay like the mundaneness of like time passing and like how life just kind of gets away from you.
Mhm.
And the idea that like you should check in with your friends, even though it's hard and even though it can seem like time just kind of like flies away, whether it's work or whatever it may be. And we're just kind of trying to get that across, but it's really cool. It's a whole new look that we haven't really gotten to play with yet.
Yeah.
This is one of our first ones where we don't have like us actually performing like our instruments throughout the entire song. Like we went out and like picked out. Yeah, we went out and like Dalton was like, I need you to pick like plain outfits, like very like low key
And
things. Like
Napoleon Dynamite was the reference. Was the
Yeah.
visual reference.
Oh, rad. Okay, I gotta check.
and
this
like
out after this interview.
the color grading and everything, the lighting that Dalton ended up doing, and that just brought that video to life. It looked phenomenal. The place that he ended up renting was awesome. I'm so happy with how it came out. And like my mom is actually in the video. I told Dalton, I was like, we'll just FaceTime my mom and have her in the video because everyone knows who my mom is of like
That's
our fans.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And then you have a big tour coming up to support the album as well. Ending here in Nashville.
Mhm.
Ending here in Nashville. I think this is the biggest headlining tour we've ever done, and I think biggest tour we've ever done, period,
Definitely,
too. It's
yeah.
29 shows and 30 something days. And we're very excited. We're hitting a lot of new places.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys have a big tour coming up. I mean, Yeah, I saw you're playing San Diego. You're playing House of Blues, which is
Mhm.
that's a great room. The Voodoo
Yeah.
room, I think you're in, which
Yeah.
is a really a cool space. And then Basement East, I think here in Nashville.
We're
Yeah.
actually
Or
East Side Bowl.
East Side, oh, East Side Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
Something with East.
Yeah.
One of so
One of the
confused.
East.
Basement East,
The East
the
room.
East Room, East Side
Side
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets confusing. But yeah, so that's huge. And you guys are headlining the tour. And
Yeah.
this you had done another headliner before this tour before though?
We had done 2 short headliners where we did one up the East Coast with Jiraiya, who is incredible, and we did one from Florida and then over into the West Coast with Titus, who's also awesome. And those were headliners. They were
Yeah.
they were short, but they were like 2
They were-
weeks long each.
They were almost like market testers in a way, you know, like to get to all these people that we hadn't really been to for like a full set. So those were our first headlining tours, and this one is kind of our first like full US, like, you know, guns a-blazing kind of
Yeah.
tour.
And it's worth saying about those 2 shorter ones that they were like, we had just started a relationship with a booking agent, and we all kind of decided like, well, let's just go see who's there, right? Like, is anyone there? Because like we were talking about earlier, like to get somebody to go from TikTok to Spotify, and then you got to get somebody to go from TikTok, Spotify to in person. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
to buy a ticket, to
we're really
show
gonna do
up.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we went and we were just overwhelmed in a very good way
Yeah.
by the love. I mean, we not only would get to play to 150 to 300 people in some of these places, but we would stay after and talk to everybody, and saw some people put some usernames to faces finally, and it was awesome. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool to kind of, I mean, from the pandemic to build this relationship with these fans. And then I'm sure, I mean, you see these numbers and you're like, well, this is crazy. But then to actually physically see people like, damn, like they're actually here. Like this
Yeah.
isn't just some
I think that was one of the
odd
biggest
number on the screen.
that was the most like validating part about it, is it's like, we can have 300 400,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, but that doesn't mean anything if no one's coming to shows. So to have like more than 100 people at each show was wild.
That's awesome. And then what do you said you moved to Nashville like 2 years ago. What was the decision on that? Just to be in the scene here?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can speak to this too, but I think a big part of it was, well, so our manager Jacob is also he's our 4th band member. We met him in college too.
Oh, cool.
And so we've been working together for a long time. He moved to Nashville to get more plugged into the industry and to meet people and to do what he's doing now in addition to working with us. And he had just sort of made the point, like, if you want to grow, you got to just be in a community of people who are doing what you're doing or doing something similar to what you're doing. And we were already commuting to Nashville pretty frequently to work with other writers, and really to work with Dan Swank, who we still work with now, a good friend of ours. And it just made sense. We knew we were going to have to go to a music city, and if it's New York, LA, Nashville, or Chicago, Nashville was the cheapest one, the closest one. And we liked it when we had visited. So yeah.
Yeah, we already kind of had like an emotional tie to Nashville,
Totally.
which was like working with Dan, writing those songs, and even doing like some other trips. Like, before we moved, we wrote Only Be Mine up here, All the Ways I Could Die, Uncomfortably Numb, all started in Nashville.
Every trip we had done up here was just, we had always come back being like, oh my God, I can't believe we were able to do that. That was crazy.
Yeah, can't wait to go back kind of feeling
Yeah.
as we're driving home, that 12-hour drive.
Yeah, so we already had that kind of like love for, even, we only knew a couple places in the city. We just had the love of like, when we go to Nashville, we feel good.
Yeah.
So like,
And we write hits.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. We knew 2 people in 3 places.
Yeah.
And
It is
now-
interesting. When I moved out here, I thought I was like, okay, this is going to be all country music town, which there's a lot of that, but
Yes.
there's a lot of pop bands, punk bands. I mean, people that I would have never imagined lived here. You'll find out like, oh, this person lives here. You're like, really? Okay. I mean, it's dope, but it's just, it's not what I was anticipating when I was like, oh, it's just gonna be like a, cowboy town, but not even close.
Dude,
Like
everybody's moving.
yeehaw punk.
Yeah. There's just as much country to Nashville as there is Disney to Orlando. If you want that to be it in your head, it is. But it's so much more like under the surface.
Yeah,
like,
if you go to Disneyland, that's all you're gonna
that's
see.
all you're gonna see. If you go to Broadway, that's all you're gonna see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's such a great way to put it. Well, thank you all so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I love the record. I think your band is awesome, and I just feel dumb that I didn't find you earlier, because I'm like, damn, like this music is like right up my alley. So I love what you guys are up to.
Thanks so much, dude. I mean, like the fact that you found it now makes us very happy. Honored that you have us on. I mean, I was looking through so many other guests. I can't wait to watch some episodes. Yeah, like thank you so much for having
Oh,
me.
no. This has been great. I have one more question, if I can get an answer from all of you.
Yeah.
And then I want to see if you'll stick on for half a second after I turn the recording off as well. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Want to go first?
I feel like you guys should go first, because you'll have maybe like the fun answers, and I'll give the businessy answers.
Oh,
I feel like we always default to the businessy answer because we're like,
Exactly.
follow your
Like
dreams,
the
just
fun
do it.
You go first.
Yeah, I mean, advice. I'm just trying to think back to like everything we've experienced. I mean, good advice. Just do it. Just write as much as you can, and don't let you thinking it's not as good as it could be stop you. Just write as many songs as you can, and something good will come of it, or you'll forget about it, and then 6 months later you'll realize, you know what, that was actually pretty good. I am going to use that, which has happened so many times with us.
Yeah.
Love that.
That was Uncomfortably Numb. It was like a 3-year-old demo or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was almost that old by the time we used it. A year or two. Anyways, I would say be nice to people. People like you don't have to be networky. You don't have to go to every event and do everything and shake every hand. Just be nice to people when you're working with them, because people want to work with their friends. And I used to think that when people said like it's all who you know, it was a bad thing. And then I realized like, oh, it's all who you know. Then like it's kind of a good thing. So just be kind while you're, navigating music.
Love that. What about you, Jesse?
And I will say,
Post every day.
no.
Every TikTok has to have your music in it.
That's right. Don't forget.
That's
Actually, that's a really
That's
good
the best one.
one. One pitfall I see plenty of musicians fall into is they don't post their songs. They post like trends that are sort of like about music, but that doesn't get anybody from TikTok to Spotify. So just believe in your songs, and if you don't promote them, if you don't do the shameless self-promotion, no one's gonna listen to it. So if you want people to listen to it, which you don't have to want that, but if you do, then you gotta promote as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Bringing it backward.